Oh,
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Money Monday on the Daily Huddle. I am Kimberly Ogando, and I'm your host today. We have a guest, Angela Miller, with us, and she's going to give us all of her expertise knowledge about the market and where we are with real estate. Zach is traveling today, so you get me all by myself, which I know is super exciting. But it also means that I have to do his cheesy joke because he's not here. So, in I don't know. Anyway, for Zach, right? So here we go. So a realtor went to her broker and she said, "Hey, I need a raise in my commission." And she told her managing broker, she said, "There are four other companies after me." He was like, "Oh, really? Who are they?" And she said, "The electric company, the telephone company, and the gas company." Ha ha ha. So in light of real estate recruiting, that's your funny joke for today. I'm sure
love
you
it.
hear the compensation jokes all the time, right, Angela?
Oh, yeah.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Money Mondays. I'm your host today, Kimberly Ogando, and my guest is Angela Miller. So before we get started and talk about our conversation for the day, I have a few questions for you guys. Andrea, I want you to go first. What time is it, and what are you grateful for?
The time is now, which is the only time, and I'm grateful for Mondays.
Awesome. I'm grateful for Mondays too. And I'm grateful to see your face. So I haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome, welcome. Chase, I see your face too. So you get to be my number two. Haven't seen you well either. Where are you and who will you hug today?
I am right here in a very nice geographical location. And I'm going to hug myself first today because that's necessary.
Awesome. Actually, I think I asked you that not too long ago, right? Who you were going to hug today because we had your
That's right.
amazing story about who you did hug and
That's
how
right.
that changed your day. Yeah, that was a magical story. Saurel, how are you? You think you heard me?
Kim, the way I say I am, and I am stupendous.
Oh, stupendous. Awesome. That's a great word. I haven't heard that one in a while. I think that's what we should do, right? Is have these words we haven't heard in a while and use those as descriptors. I think that's fun. Well, first of all, obviously, again, welcome to Money Monday with me and the Daily Huddle and our guest Angela Miller. So today we're going to talk about the question: is it a good time to invest in real estate or buy a house? But before we do, let me introduce Angela. And Angela, I'm going to read your bio so you can kind of add in as we go at the end. But Angela is a native of Atlanta and began her real estate career in 1994 after working in the home building business and supplying exterior shutters to high-end builders. This experience kindled her passion for the real estate industry. With integrity as her foundation, Angela combines her extensive knowledge of the community and market, marketing expertise, effective negotiation skills, and a vast professional network to provide exceptional service. She prioritizes her clients, ensuring accessibility, active listening, and providing prompt responses to meet their unique needs. Angela's commitments to a seamless and stress-free real estate experience sets her apart. Apart from her professional achievements, Angela cherishes her role as a mother of 5 children and a loving nana to 6 grandchildren. Her adventurous spirit finds expression in activities like fishing, camping, kayaking, and attending theatrical performances and art festivities. Angela's love for Charleston blossomed during a memorial birthday trip, leading her to relocate to the area in 2014. Her dedication and expertise have propelled her to become one of Charleston's top performing agents, Whether you're buying or selling a property, Angela will be your trusted guide throughout the entire process. With her wealth of experience, passion for real estate, and unwavering dedication to her clients, Angela offers an exceptional real estate experience in Charleston. So, Angela, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today and being our guest and helping us navigate through this real estate market. So is it a good time to invest in real estate or buying a house? What do you think?
It's always a good time to buy a house.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's always going to be different reasons to purchase, whether it be, turning of 65 and you want to downsize because you want a simple life and maybe you want to travel, which is, in our future, husband and I. Maybe it's having a baby, when you need the extra space, or just the people pass away and we have to take care of those needs, for the family members. So there's always reason to buy. They say, I like the saying that's out there today. It's date the rate and marry the house. Mm-hmm. So when the rates change, you can refinance. But I've always been a type of agent that tries to guide my clients to be conservative in their home purchasing anyway, not to top them out at their max dollar amount when buying a home, just for the sake of having that extra money, being able to enjoy where they live, but also travel and do the things that they want to do. So I think it's always a good time.
I think that's great advice. Date the rate and what'd you say? Love the house? Buy the house. Yeah.
Marry the house.
Date the rate and marry the house. I like that saying. I do agree with you that rates are going to go down, whether it's soon or in the next couple of years, and refinancing is a great strategy to take advantage of the house now and obviously make it a little cheaper later. Tell me, obviously we talked a little bit in your bio and I want to talk about the current housing market and all that, but tell me kind of how you got into real estate. So that's an interesting transition, right? From being a home representative, right, to then becoming a realtor. So tell me about that.
Well, in 1990, I think it was 93 or 92 or 93, I was out selling exterior shutters and I had met with the gentleman who was a builder developer and, established a relationship as far as working with him. And one day he just said, you might want to consider getting into real estate. So like Napoleon Hill, that you and I both love, someone else saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I never had put any forethought into possibly getting into real estate. I didn't have anybody in the family that had a real estate, interest or whatever. Saw parents buy and sell homes, grandparents move, but I never really thought about it. And so that's how my journey began. As I took a leap of faith, I met with the broker that was representing him and his transactions. And Karen Love, and I don't know where she is today, but she was very significant in me getting my real estate license and really pouring into me as a team leader.
That's awesome. I love those stories, and you had to be ready and willing to say yes, right? And to take a chance and to take a risk. But I love those stories of just opportunities and seeing them and, jumping into that. So talking about the current housing market, we all hear the noise all around us, right? Because there's lots of noise, whether it's political or the economy or the real estate market or the interest rates. There's a lot of noise. So hearing that, we are going into a recession and hearing that the interest rates are higher and, are you finding that everyone is still looking? Is the real estate market as hot as it was a year ago?
No, not at all.
Right.
But a year ago, we weren't, in my opinion, that's all.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Selling houses, I was auctioning homes. I mean, honestly, it was whoever had the highest and the least contingencies in a sales contract were the ones that got chosen. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, it was a different market. And in all the 30 years that I've been in real estate, it was the craziest market to make me even start questioning myself if I knew how to sell real estate. Right. Because I've never gone to school to be an auctioneer.
Right. We tried to buy a house. We actually did buy a house during that time for our daughter. Helped her buy it in Columbia. And yes, there were lots of houses that we missed out on because we weren't quite auctioning as high as we should have. So I remember that very clearly. How do you guide your buyers now that the market is maybe more normal, but obviously different than it has been for the last few years? Everything that I see, there's less inventory, but there's also less people out there actually looking to buy houses. So how do you guide them in purchasing now? And, obviously you talk about what they're looking for, but how do you help them with that negotiation to make sure that it's the right purchase for them in today's market?
Well, I listed 2 houses last week. I have one I listed in Georgia that have had 16 showings so far in 3 days. And then I listed one here in Somerville that's had 0 showings so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that the market has totally softened, because if I had 16 buyers come through that one home thus far, and basically it's been they need the extra room.
Right.
That's been the feedback. That's a lot of buyers still out there looking. So it makes me feel, comfortable that we may be the market may be softening a little bit, but we still have buyers that are looking. But and with that in mind, I let my buyers know that sellers are still not as negotiable as they were before 2021.
Right.
So make your best offer. Don't expect them to provide any closing costs. You need to have your money saved and provide yourself with whatever it is to get you to the closing table if you really want this home. Because some sellers will give some concessions, but not all of them are. And if it's priced well in the condition to sell, then there probably will still be multiple offers on that home.
And so that's why I was going to ask you. So that's why they're probably not being as negotiable as they used to be. Because if it's a great house, there's still multiple people out there looking for a great house, right?
Right.
But also I would assume that they have they remember last year and the year before and the stories from it, right? And they probably haven't quite come back to normal real estate world yet, right? As far as maybe I do have to make a few concessions and wiggle, but what do you think about buying investment properties right now? What would your advice be? If I said, I want to buy an investment property, whether it's for short-term rentals like Airbnb or just a long-term buy and hold strategy, what would you, what do you advise people as far as investment property right now?
If you're in a financial position that you can afford to buy an investment property with the rental rates as high as they are, it's a great time to buy investment property. It really is, because I still think that your rates may be up, but again, date the rate. And so right now, you may not make as much money off of that house, but let's say by spring of next year, which is forecasted to drop the rates down some, then you can refinance. And so then you're going to benefit off of those investment properties.
Do you think that we're going to see a decrease in values? I know we've seen a little softening, right? Or at least stabilization. Do you think we're going to see a decrease in values? And I know we're Charleston, Somerville, so that's a little more insulated, but you also are licensed in Georgia too, which is not quite as vacation heavy, right? So tell me kind of what you think is happening with values and where you think we're going to be.
I think that we will continue to see some type of increase in our value. It's just going to go back to normalizing the real estate industry. It may soften a little bit, but we have a shortage of inventory, supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So as long as our inventory is low, then it's going to keep our prices up.
So you don't think that we're going to have this big buying opportunity because everything's going to be on this major sale anytime soon?
No, I do not. I do
not. Regardless, Georgia or South Carolina?
Nope. I don't see it.
Okay. Just curious.
If we have foreclosures that come into play, but I'm not seeing those. I'm a certified buyer broker where banks and asset management companies will hire me to do a broker pricing opinion. Mm-hmm. And so I haven't seen an influx of those demands for those BPOs, the broker pricing opinions. So that kind of, for me, that kind of gives me a feeling of where we are. with the short sales or REOs. I've done one short sale this year, but they were just short coming to the table with the funds that they needed. And so we had to short sell it. It wasn't
Right.
going in as a short sale.
They weren't trying to. So for those of us that are not in the real estate world, I understand what you're saying, but explain short sell and what that looks like.
A short sale means that you're selling the home for less than what is owed on the note. So
And you negotiate that with the lender, I guess, at that point.
yes, you would loss mitigation with the bank, whoever holds the note. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And obviously 2008, 2009, that was a huge thing where people would say, Angela, I got to go and I can't afford it. And you would help them negotiate through the lender a lesser price. Well, I think that's good news, right? That you don't see an uptick in that, and that you really don't have a true short sell from a need to short sell. It just so happened to be that way, right? In that situation. What advice or tips do you have for buyers in this market right now?
Shop the rate.
Or any market.
Yeah. I mean, shop the rate. Make sure that the bank that you're using is giving you the best rate and the least amount of cost associated with the loan. And also save your money. You know, be prepared going in. Like I said earlier, make sure that you've got the money that you need to buy the home for all your closing costs, prepaids, your health, your homeowners insurance, which is another big stigma right now because so many of their homeowners insurance companies are pulling out.
Especially over here.
Yes, in South Carolina. So, which has caused our insurance to go up, even mine, about $300 a month.
I know. Mine too. I'm
Yeah.
like, excuse me. I'm
Right.
not coastal.
Exactly. So it's really hard for us in the past, we've kind of been able to gauge what that monthly amount would be, but it's really hard now. We have to get more acclimated with the new changes with the insurance premiums, but that's causing the interest. I mean, their PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance escrow to go up every month, which can actually push people out of buying a home.
Yeah, for sure.
Save.
And what?
Save money for your buying a home. Prepare yourself for it.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And you know, even some of that is not preventable, right? Through the years, like you said, if you were already in your home and your insurance went up, well, you own it, right? So
exactly,
you kind of have to figure out those pieces. I think all of those are really good tips to talk about and really good things to look at. I have a question. I don't see your name. It just says Samsung. So I'm going to call you Samsung. But unmute yourself.
This is Cece.
Hey,
How
Cece.
you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am so blessed and prosperous and in good health. Thank you. I have a question. Okay, I have insurance, and some kind of way, the claims that were claimed were made into several claims instead of one claim. And so now we are having conversations about how the insurance policy went up. And I had to get another carrier because there was, quote unquote, too many claims made. And it was really one claim. So under Title 33, what portion of it gives the insurance company the authority to make claim, rule on claims and stuff like that? Do you know that section?
I don't know the answer to that. We don't. So I don't do property and casualty insurance, right? So I do life and health. And Angela is a real estate agent, not an insurance agent. So I don't. Angela, if you can answer that question, you are welcome to. But
I wish I knew. I mean, I don't understand the insurance industry at all. Health, property, casualty, any of it. It makes no sense how they gauge their premiums and stuff. I'm just going to leave it there.
Right. That's why you hire an agent in that area.
Yeah.
So Cece, I'm sorry we can't help you answer that question specifically, but your agent that helped you with that particular policy should be able to help you answer that question.
Oh, no, I just called them and they're not able to help either. That's why I thought somebody else would have an answer, but thank you.
I'm sorry, we don't have that answer today. Let's go ahead and open it up to you guys and see what questions we have for Angela. Talk about buying opportunities and investment properties, and should you buy a house right now, or should you rent, or anything like that. So if you guys have any questions, let's open it up and ask those questions. While you're thinking about that, I'm curious to know, what do you think is going to happen just in general in the US, right? Not necessarily Charleston or Atlanta, but with the short-term rentals, with like Airbnb and VRBO and things like that. Do you think it will continue like it is? Or do you see a lot of cities tightening and becoming more stringent on, being able to rent those properties like they're renting them?
Well, we've already seen that in Charleston County. There's been a significant stop to that.
I know there has downtown, and I know there has in North Charleston. Just kind of curious, outside of this area, do you think that's a nationwide thing?
I think if it continues to interfere with the hospitality, and we're getting a lot of that now in the Summerville area, it would definitely change that. So you have to be, mindful of that. So I think it could. I just read that they are trying to put a moratorium on building in Mount Pleasant until they can catch up with the infrastructure. So they're looking at 6 years. No. Yeah. But that's just going to continue to push them up our way into the Summerville and going towards, 95, which is why I planted myself in Summerville.
Yeah, it's definitely on the path of growth, right? Definitely on the path of growth.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see. I think that will be interesting to see people that have bought all these properties with the intention of that being an income stream or retirement plan. Can they? And I guess obviously, from a mortgage perspective, they have to qualify. They have to be able to afford them regardless, right? Regardless of the Airbnb rentals and things like that. But I guess the advice would be to make sure you can afford it just with a regular long-term renter, right? So if the rules change and things like that change, at least it's still an investment property for you and you're not going backwards on it.
Yeah, I would never suggest considering it just Airbnb. I would always look at the long-term ROI.
How do you determine the long-term ROI? What all do you look at when you look at that?
What the rental rates are going for in the area.
Okay. And I guess appreciation of the property and things like that.
Yep. And it's going to slow down. Like I said, I think we'll see 2 to 3% increase like we do in a normal, typical real estate market in comparison to what we've seen over the last 3 years.
Right. I enjoyed the last few years. I think it was great for me personally.
Sure. Well, we've all benefited because the equity in our homes have gone up, but so have our taxes.
Right.
So there's that. It's a great time to sell your home and take the equity out and buy 2 houses, buy primary, and then buy a rental with the money that you can make off of those.
Yeah, I think it's just, where can you go, right? I think we've had that. I know Zach and I have personally had that conversation here, as we've done really well over the last few years in our equity, but if we want to move somewhere different, it's going to be a lateral transfer, and we're going to owe the same amount for a house that's not as nice. It's just kind of that catch-22 of what do you do? How do you make that jump? Any questions you guys have out there? If not, I'm sure Angel and I can just keep talking. Cece says, where should you buy? I don't know if she means like location wise. Do you mean location, Cece, or like what type of property, or?
Typically, to answer that question, I suggest that you gauge it on your business, your kids' school, if you have children in school, whatever you're attracted to, whether it be that nightlife or performing arts, whatever you're drawn to, whether kayaking, I like being close to the rivers, camping. I love doing that too, which is one of the things we enjoy being out here. We also like, even though I know Somerville is growing, we love the small town charm that Somerville has to offer in the downtown area and all of the things that come around that, the events.
Yeah. I haven't spent a lot of time in Somerville, but when I met with you guys a few weeks ago, it was so cute. And I've been down there, but not really at night, and gone out to dinner, and it was fantastic. So any other questions? CC, I see your question, but I'm going to see if anybody else has any questions first, before we answer that question. If you guys do, you can just unmute yourself or raise your hand, or have any success stories of investment property purchasing or anything like that at this moment. Okay. Cece has a question about fourplex properties. So I guess multi-unit properties, like, do you do a lot of that with investment properties and things like that from that perspective?
We do. It's just the availability. There's not a lot of those out there right now that I'm seeing available. So
Right.
we do handle from here to Greenville, Spartanburg, Myrtle Beach, Columbia, Sumter, and going over to Orangeburg. So it may be that some of those areas might be better suited for a fourplex if they have that inventory. Right now in the Charleston area, we're limited to that.
Right. I would imagine so, right? It's a big investment opportunity, especially here, for all of that. Any last tips or advice or anything you want all of our listeners to know today about you, about your business, about real estate in general? Any words of advice you want to share with them?
Find a good agent. Find someone that is going to really know what your needs are, understand what your needs are, and build relationship with that person that could be your eyes and ears for you.
What questions should they ask to find a good agent?
How long have you been in the business? What areas do you cover? Do you have somebody that can help me if you're not available? How quick do you respond to my calls?
That's probably a big one, right? I need you now. I'm sure you get that quite often.
Well, I do. And I do have great, support back up that can help if I'm involved in something else. So I've got a great team that works with me.
Awesome. And your team specifically is definitely South Carolina and Georgia. Anywhere else?
Florida. We're in Florida.
Yeah. Florida too, and expanding, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. You want to tell us just in maybe the last minute, just a little bit about your brokerage and what attracted you there, and the magic you guys are spreading across the Southeast and the US eventually?
Absolutely. So when I came here in 2014, I moved closer to my parents. They were in Myrtle Beach. And so I knew I needed to be close, but I didn't want to be in Myrtle Beach. I wanted to be in Charleston because my husband and I had visited here and just absolutely fell in love with the Charleston area. And so it took me a little time to get my feet firmly on the ground because I didn't know a single person when I moved here. And so in 2016, I put my license with my partner, Shane Mask, with the Atlanta office. And he started in on me about opening up the Charleston location. And so by 2019, I conceded, and we have been we were the first branch of the American Realty, which originated in the East Metro Atlanta area. And so Shane and I come with about the same amount of years of experience, and it's just enveloped. I mean, to have the people that want to join us and be part of us. We also have a university that teaches education for our agents, designations and continuing education, and just whatever it is that they need. But we've expanded here. We've got 5 offices in Georgia, and I think we're either 6 or 7 now in Florida. And so it's been quite amazing just to see how it's all, developed and have
I
the
think
people.
growth is super exciting, very much so. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us today and being my guest and talking us through this market. If people want to get in contact with you, I know it's posted on our Facebook page, but why don't you tell them now how to join you as well, or how to contact you as well before we wrap up for the day?
You can visit my website, angelamillerteam.net. You can email me at angelamillerteam@gmail.com, or you can call me 843-990-8963, and you can use that to text me as well.
Awesome. Well, Angela, thank you so much for joining us today. And guys, thank you guys for being on and for this Money Monday and joining us at 9 a.m. on this day. Before we leave for the day, we want to remind you guys of our 8 tenets. So the first is love. Laugh out loud. Stress less, right? We're winding down the year. We're thankful for what we've done so far. And we're just looking at the holidays to be thankful and less stressed. Eat mostly plant-based, give, sleep, move, and finally, check yourself before you wreck yourself. As we go into this holiday season, take your pause when you're out there with your families, right? They love you, you love them. Take your pause before you get there. But we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place on the Daily Huddle. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, you too.